Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Dentistry Media. Our topic for today's discussion is ACE inhibitors. The first ACE inhibitor which was introduced is captopril in the year 1997 and it is orally active. Now let us see the mechanism of action. The angiotensinogen is a precursor which is present in the blood which is acted upon by renin to form angiotensin 1 which is further converted by the angiotensin converting enzyme to angiotensin 2. It is a potent compound and it has a plasma half-life of only 1 minute. Therefore, it gets further degraded to angiotensin 3 by the aminopeptidase. The potency of angiotensin 3 is 2 to 10 times less as compared to angiotensin 2. But it is equipotent in stimulating the aldosterone secretion. The angiotensin 3 is further degraded to inactive products by angiotensinases. Now let us see the action of angiotensin 2. It has its prominent action on the cardiovascular system by increasing the sympathetic outflow and causing vasoconstriction. It acts on the adrenal cortex with the help of angiotensin 3 and it promotes the release and synthesis of aldosterone, which further acts on the distal tubule to increase sodium absorption. On the kidney, they reduce renal blood flow and they enhance the intrarenal hemodynamic effect. These results in sodium and water retention. On brain, the angiotensin 2, it causes release of the ADH and also it promotes drinking behavior. And they enhance the sympathetic activity on peripheral action. And all this in turn leads to increase in the blood pressure. In a normal human being, the rise in the blood pressure is managed by the long loop negative feedback mechanism which inhibits the release of renin. In cases of primary or secondary hypertension, this mechanism fails. Therefore, ACE inhibitors are used wherein these ACE inhibitors, they inhibit the angiotensin converting enzyme which cleaves the angiotensin 1 to the potent angiotensin 2. Thereby, it causes reversal of all the actions of angiotensin 2, that is decreased sympathetic flow, vasodilatation, decreased sodium and water retention, low plasma volume, and also these ACE inhibitors, they inhibit the degradation of bradykinin. Therefore, there will be increased levels of bradykinin, which is a potent vasodilator. All this in turn, they reduce the peripheral resistance, which in turn decrease the preload and afterload. Now let us see the uses of ACE inhibitors. In hypertensive patients, there will be left ventricular hypertrophy and increased wall to lumen ratio. And this action is reversed by the ACE inhibitors. And also they reduce cardiovascular morbidity, thereby increases the life expectancy. The advantages of using ACE inhibitors in hypertensive patients are it minimally worsens the quality of life and there will be no postural hypertension, electrolyte imbalances or CNS weakness. Therefore, ACE inhibitors are considered as the first line of drug, whether it is given as a monotherapy or in combination or in cases of resistant hypertension. In congestive heart failure, the ACE inhibitors, they play a major role. If you remember in the mechanism of action we saw, these ACE inhibitors, they reduce the peripheral resistance. Therefore, they have no action on the myocardium. Therefore, they retard the progression of left ventricular systolic dysfunction. Thereby, they prolong the survival of such patients of all grades. That is why ACE inhibitors are considered as the first line of drug for patients with left ventricular inadequacy, whether symptomatic or asymptomatic. In cases of myocardial infarction, when they are given within 24 hours of the evolving myocardial infarction and continued for post 6 weeks, they reduce the early and long-term morbidity. In scleroderma crisis, it is a systemic condition and the major complication which is seen is malignant hypertension, acute renal failure. And this is improved by the ACE inhibitors and they are considered as life-saving in this condition. The renin-angiotensin system reduces the renal blood flow. Thereby, it accentuates the micro and macrovascular complications in diabetics. And this action is inhibited by the ACE inhibitors. Thereby, they prevent or delay the end-stage renal disease in diabetics. They improve the creatinine clearance. Therefore, such patients, they require less dialysis and they have a longer life expectancy. Also, the ACE inhibitors, they stabilize the albumin levels. All patients with diabetic nephropathy, either they have hypertension or not, they deserve ACE inhibitors. As the ACE inhibitors, they improve the renal blood flow and reduce proteinuria. They are also indicated in non-diabetic nephropathy. As the ACE inhibitors, they improve the endothelial function. They are considered as prophylactic treatment for high cardiovascular risk subjects, and this action is independent of the hypotensive action. Presence of food alters the bioavailability of ACE inhibitors. They have poor penetration in the brain. The plasma half-life is only for 2 hours and the duration of action lasts for 6 to 12 hours. The adverse effects includes an initial sharp fall in BP and hyperkalemia. This condition is rare, but it is likely precipitated in patients with underlying impaired renal function, the patients on potassium-sparing diuretics, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and beta blockers. Dry cough, rashes, urticaria, angioedema are likely precipitated because of the increased level of bradykinin and prostaglandin synthesis. The dry cough and angioedema requires the withdrawal of the drug, and such patients are prescribed with angiotensin receptor blockers. Other adverse effects includes altered taste and granulocytopenia and proteinuria. This condition is also rare, but it is precipitated in patients with underlying renal disease, and it also warrants withdrawal of the drug. The ACE inhibitors are contraindicated in pregnancy due to fetal growth retardation and in renal artery stenosis patients because it precipitates acute renal failure. They are considered safer in asthmatics, diabetics, and patients with peripheral vascular disease. Few important takeaways. The ACE inhibitors, they lower the blood pressure by decreasing the peripheral resistance. Therefore, they have no direct effect on the myocardium. They inhibit the degradation of bradykinin, which is responsible for the dry cough. They prevent secondary hyperaldosteronism. There is no deleterious effect on the plasma lipid profile, and they don't cause hyperuricemia. They retard diabetic nephropathy, reduces the incidence of type 2 diabetes in high-risk patients. Postural hypotension and rebound hypertension on withdrawal is not a problem. Enalapril is the second ACE inhibitor which was introduced. It is a prodrug and it is converted to enalaprilat in the body. It is marketed as injectable preparation. Therapeutic, pharmacological and adverse effects are almost similar to captopril. It differs over captopril because it is more potent. It reduces the chances of first dose hypotension. It has a longer duration of action and its absorption is not affected by food. And the chances of rashes and loss of taste are less likely.